Hello and welcome to another episode of Blackjack Movies. I am Pat Hilke, and this is a special edition, special episode, special series that we're doing here at Blackjack Movies, and it is called The Kings of Westeros. This is your go-to Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, recap show, preview show, everything podcast. That's what we're going to be talking about, and I have a new partner in crime that is going to be joining us for this series, this limited series throughout this season of Game of Thrones. Please introduce yourself, my man.
My name is Danko Yu. That's all you need to know.
Oh, there you go. See, he's coming hard right from the jump. You guys don't even need to know the whole last name. He's just going Danko Yu.
It's better off that way.
There you go. Yeah, it makes it very difficult to have to say that over and over again. All right, so me and Danko are going to be here. We're just going to talk about the recap of the show, going through the ins and outs of what the scene brought us, just talking Game of Thrones with you guys. And then at the very end of each episode, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what we think is coming next, and anticipating that we're going to be doing the anticipation. Get it?
And who's going to die,
yeah,
you know?
For real. We'll have our weekly run of bets of, like, who do we think is going next week?
Start the tally.
For real, man. All right, so let's do it. We'll jump right into episode 1 of season 6, The Red Woman. That was the title of the episode. Danko, we start off at the wall. What was your initial just reaction when you saw that very first scene?
It just leaves off where the season 5 ended, right on the same spot. Him bleeding, Jon Snow bleeding in the snow. Yeah, I was curious what is going to happen to him, and I mean, we all know Jon's coming back. He's got to come back. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take him. So at the beginning of the scene, so we get, the people find him. We got Davos and Ed and, I guess Jon's cronies.
Exactly. His posse with Davos going in there.
The traitor sign.
You know what's funny, and I don't know if you caught it, and I'm telling you right now that I'm already going to watch this episode like 2 more times before next week, but there was a look that Davos gave after they picked up Jon to take him inside, and he looked down on the ground and he saw like the puddle of blood or whatever.
The footsteps?
It was just weird, right? Like there was something that he was looking at that was like, oh, okay. Like Davos saw something in the snow at that time that he knew something was up.
Right. Well, yeah, it's I think they know who. I mean, Alistair Thorne, everyone knows hated him since day one, so it's not like it's even a mystery of what happened there.
Yeah,
but it looks like just the fact that there's a lot of people there, it's not an isolated incident. It's, Julius Caesar type of killing, you know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's exactly how it plays out in the very next scene. So we go right from Jon's death, and all of a sudden you see the Night's Watch inside their little, like, town hall, right? Mm-hmm. And Thorne is admitting the guilt and saying, yeah, I killed him. But it was because he was a traitor. We'd been fighting the wildlings for years and years and centuries, and these people, and we just gave them that land that we've been fighting for so many years. And
of course, that's the backlash that Jon was constantly fighting with since he came back, really, whether when he was the Night's Watch commander, and before that, everyone, always thought he was a turncloak, right? So,
right.
And during the scene, too, I mean, the scene before, I guess, Ed leaves.
Yeah,
who is he getting? The wildlings, probably, right?
Yeah.
So what's going to play out now,
he's
right?
He's going to get Tormund and bring that big bastard back.
He's got some people. I mean, there's a lot more wildlings there than there are Night's Watchmen, right? So the thing I'm worrying about is I don't want the Night's Watch to be eliminated, wiped out here, and I just what is going to play out, right?
I don't think it will be. I think it will be one of those things, and we're going to get into what we think about Jon Snow in a little bit, but it'll be one of those things that when the wildlings come, I think that's when we'll see what happens with Jon.
Yeah.
Is Jon really dead and they're going to have this massive fight? Or is Jon being brought back to life, which I think everybody at this point agrees is going to happen?
Yep.
And will Jon, because he is such, like, the righteous man throughout this whole thing, like, his moral compass is due north all the time. Like he felt
He's the Eddard Stark reincarnate.
It's crazy, right? Like even when he was having his little affair,
he was torn.
Oh my gosh, right? Like he
and he was trying to stay alive.
Disobeyed his vows,
Yeah.
and he was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, he was so torn, and it was amazing to see Kit Harington perform that. But I think when we get him back alive, he'll be able to either bring everybody together,
right,
or it's going to be all out chaos.
Heads will roll for sure.
Well, probably,
it's just how many.
Exactly. So we cut from
the far north. We go just a little bit further down south to the Boltons.
Yeah, we're now at Winterfell. You know, Ramsay sitting there saying goodbye to that girl that he was messing with on the side,
feeding her to the dogs.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Classic Ramsay style.
Yeah, Ramsay's that dude. Loco,
he's the epitome of evil on that show. You know,
he really is. He's like, that dude is a strange cat, and so he's sitting there. And he's talking to his dad, and
disappointed in him.
Oh, of course, right?
Yep.
And he's
can't keep his woman.
He's like, just let me have a few dogs and a few men, and I'll go get her back. And he's like, no, son, and you might not be the heir of this Winterfell establishment that we have now.
Yep. No wife, no heir, no seats.
Holding that over Ramsay's head throughout. You know, even from last season, he's constantly reminding him, like
putting him in his place.
All the Maesters believe that there's a son inside.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those things.
Yep.
And like you said, he's putting him in his place all the time. We cut then to Sansa and Theon, you know, trying to run from the dogs, and they get caught.
Yep, they get trapped.
And what happens?
We got...
Spell it out for them.
Well, you know, they get cornered. You got Brienne coming out. I'm glad, you know, Brienne comes in, rescues him, of course. I'm just glad that this... you know, you knew Brienne was going to be reunited with Sansa. I'm glad that it happened in the first episode and didn't make us, like, wait for this for, like, 3 episodes until it's, you know... Exactly. We knew this is going to be her shield. Theon's there. He could be useful, you know, and we got Pod, the loyal lad he is, you know, and now we have 4 people there. Now they can actually move places without getting slaughtered at every single spot. Exactly, they got a couple of horses on him. Where are they going to go? Are they going to go north towards the Umbers? You know, that's one of their allies.
That would be
or
my
might
guess.
they go south to White Harbor, because they haven't put in Manderley yet, and in the books he's a pretty big character, and you know, especially on the march to Winterfell, you know, he's like playing the he's killing off Freys, which didn't happen in the show, and he's killing off Boltons and shit, so you know,
yeah, you're right,
he's
man.
an interesting
maybe they
character.
head south first, pick him up, and then they wreck some shop coming back up to Winterfell. You know, it was funny though. Like you said, man, I'm so glad, because we know that the whole Jon Snow angle, that's going to take probably half the season. Like Jon will not come back alive until episode 5 or 6 is my guess.
I'm hoping sooner, but
so do I. Like I was hoping last night, but that was asking a lot.
They're trying to keep us in it.
Well, my guess is that they'll go either episode 5 or 6 with Jon. We didn't need another drawn out thing, and like you were saying, Brienne needed to be with Sansa as soon as possible, and that's what happened here. And she pledged her sword to her, and it was a good little scene, and I think watching those 4 interact going forward is going to be fun throughout the rest of the season, maybe throughout the rest of the show, depending on who we think is going to die soon.
Mm-hmm.
So from leaving the north and going from
Landing.
Winterfell, we're now at King's Landing. Jaime coming back into the harbor. Cersei down on the port waiting for Marcella.
Yep.
And Jaime's bringing her body ashore.
Yep. I'm surprised. I thought maybe they were going to keep Marcella. She doesn't die in the books.
Not yet.
No, and I thought, maybe Trystane had something, stop the poison or whatnot.
That's what I was hoping.
Yep.
and nothing.
Didn't happen.
No.
Just a cold death.
A lot of death that we saw last night.
Yep.
And we'll get into that in just a second.
Just tying up loose ends, right? The hooks at the end of last season.
Yeah. So we knew that Stannis is dead.
Yep.
And now we know that Marcella's dead. Mm-hmm. Jon Snow's sort of dead.
So now we got the Lannisters saying it's us against the world again.
Yeah. So Jamie turning back over
being
to
led
Cersei's
astray.
boy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Jamie Lannister is one of those characters throughout the first, 5 books and 5 seasons going into the 6th season of the show. He's one of those characters that you hated, and then with every little bit that he was on screen or whatever, or every time that you read something about him, it's like, damn, I like him. Damn, I like him more. Damn, I like him a lot.
He's funny.
Now he's like one of the main characters that I'm like, man, please don't kill him. Please don't kill him. Please don't kill him. And it's one of those things like him turning back with Cersei, I think will come back and end up us not liking him near as much,
Definitely, it's like he gets better. He gets gooder in the books for sure, and because you hear his story from like killing the king and all of that stuff. In the books, he goes roaming the countryside, freeing all the places that are still under Tully or Stark control, which they kind of avoided in the book. But there was mention of a Tully coming around in the future, so I don't know if he's going to be doing the same kind of thing, or I don't know what he could really do in King's Landing with Cersei there,
Yeah, unless he just being his whipping boy. But I think that's what you have the Mountain.
Yeah,
they've obviously brought
to enforce
the Mountain
order.
back. Yeah. You don't really need Jamie there. Jamie will be good for a little bit of interaction with the Septon, and you're going to get that. Mm-hmm. But then I think Jamie's got to disappear again. But it's really weird because. Does he go tell Tommen, yes, I'm your father too, and then you have all that.
Right.
And then, it takes Tommen's throne away, basically.
Right. Well, he's not going to tell anybody.
No, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just one of those things. I don't know if Jamie being in King's Landing is the best idea for the show.
No.
So we stay there, and we're seeing Marjorie and the Septon go back and forth. And to me, this was kind of a throwaway. I think they just wanted to show
it's a weak storyline.
Yeah, I'm ready for her to get out.
Yep.
Confess to watching
just like
Loras
Cersei
and do Loras and Renly and Loras and whoever and Loras and
Yep.
Confess to seeing them and hiding it or whatever, because realistically, what sin has she committed herself?
Yeah, exactly. She's got nothing.
Unless she was in on the whole Joffrey thing with the grandma.
But that's not what she's being accused of, right? In the books, she's being tricked into... Cersei's trying to trick the Septon into believing that she's cheating, which isn't the case. She's had 3 husbands, so she might not be a virgin. But, that's not even a question anymore in the show, so who cares?
Right.
But I love in the book when Randall Tarley... Samwell's son or father comes into King's Landing and he basically breaks her out,
and that might happen.
And that's what I'm thinking. That's a good introduction.
Was cast as Randall Tarley, so
yep. How much of a role he's going to have? Who knows, right?
So we might get to see that.
Yep. Well, I'm surprised that they the Queen of Thorns, that she hasn't had a part in breaking Marjorie out, because it seems like she's capable and she could do something like that. Maybe she's waiting for the army or whatever.
Yeah, hanging out at Highgarden for all this time or whatever,
Yeah, but she was at the end of last season, she was talking to Cersei a little bit about it, and Cersei pretended not to know anything, of course, but she was in King's Landing, so.
So we go from King's Landing and we cross the sea once again, and we are now in Dorne. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing probably the weakest part of what was season 5. Now maybe the strongest part of season 6. I don't know.
Definitely exciting.
The Sand Snakes had some great scenes in season 5, but they were like throwaway scenes.
Yeah. Just for entertainment purposes.
Exactly. The prison scene is an amazing scene, but it was just for entertainment. It had nothing to do with the story, really. Mm-hmm. But now you see what these sand snakes really are.
Yep, killing off...
And they just let them have it, too.
Yep, killed off the heir and the Prince of Dorne.
Yes.
In one quick swoop. And, reading the books, Doran was one of my favorite characters. He reminded me of like a Tyrion Lannister. And sorry, not Tyrion, Tywin Lannister. Like a guy who plays the long con, you know what I mean? And he had a game plan going in, and he was going to use the Sand Snakes for it. Ilaria Sand was a nobody in the books.
Right.
But now they killed him off, and I'm just thinking, it's definitely cool. There's going to be some wars waging here. The only part I'm thinking about is they have no game plan. It's just you killed off these guys. What do you want to do? Attack? Go north? The Dornish are like way too small to cause any actual damage.
Yeah, they don't have a big army or anything.
And if they want to kill Lannisters, then wouldn't it be more interesting to go into King's Landing, pretend you're a friend, and then kill him?
That's why
instead of like killing off everybody.
It really
and then,
surprised me with the whole Trystane, and we're going to kill him off right away too. Although that scene was pretty dope. I did enjoy that. You know, he's about to square off with his cousin.
I saw that coming, man. This did not look good.
It was funny because I didn't even see it coming. I was like, okay, she's got a whip, he's got a little sword. Let's get into it. And then he takes it, and talk about graphic violence. He took that thing, the spear, right through the head, and you saw every little bit of his brains, man. I was like, this is dope. And so that was cool. So we leave the Martell Dorne area and what the Sand Snakes are doing. We have no idea what their end game is going to be now, and how they can even accomplish that.
No, that's what I'm kind of disappointed. I think that's like, what storyline could actually make that good? It's kind of like they're throwing away their cards, you know?
Right. And we head to Marine. And now with Marine, we're dealing with the aftermath of Dany leaving on the dragons. Mm-hmm. The Sons of the Harpy have completely, like, ran over the city, basically, and people are scared. We see a new Red Priest who's talking about the Lord of Light and saying that maybe Dany is not, you know, the one to take you to this higher place, and he seems to be getting a lot of followers, and I bet that we'll see him again. But the whole key to this was seeing Tyrion just totally showing his brilliance as a leader, right? He's one of the smartest people in this show, period.
For sure.
If not the smartest.
And he knows how to govern.
It's amazing. And Peter Dinklage as an actor is just flat out one of the best. This scene, even though it seems like a throwaway scene, his charisma on the screen is so good that I was like totally into it. And Tyrion has turned into like one of my favorite characters in the show. I mean, and he was in the books always, too, but you know, in the show, it's amazing. And even though I feel like we didn't get a lot of like, I don't feel like we got a lot of like, you know, concrete like thing from them. But I felt like we're moving in the right direction, and we see at the very end of that scene, they have no more Navy, and they are not going to Westeros anytime soon.
Things are getting worse and worse for him in Marine, and I just want her to already go to Westeros, but it looks like that's going to take even longer now. But I don't know.
Exactly, and that brings us to the Khaleesi, Daenerys herself.
Yep.
Hanging out in the Dothraki Sea, and right before that, you see Jorah and Dario
tracking
searching
her.
And you know, the one
found that one piece of
the stupidest scene in the whole thing. Like I really liked how the stomped ground, how they could tell that
was cool. Yeah.
That was really cool. But then to look down and you're finding a ring, you know, that looks like the size of a quarter.
Yep. Straight out of Lord of the Rings.
In this tall grass too, and I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah. And
so that part was kind of stupid. But we get to Khaleesi, and Khaleesi is now to the point where she's, you know, up for grabs with this Dothraki. You know,
Dothrakis are animals. They might take her, you know, mount her.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they were looking to do, that's for sure. So where do you think that that's going to play out going forward?
Well, I got to say, she shows her brilliance in, you know, not backing down from him and saying, you know, she was Khal Drogo's ex-wife. Ex-wife, you know, widow. But they're taking her back to, what is it, Vas Dothrak. So I saw that coming too. It's like Daenerys is a little bit frustrating at this moment because
It's just
nothing
like the
is.
books.
Nothing is happening, and it's like just take your dragon
In
already and let's
5
make
books-
something happen.
In 5 books, she never moved.
No, yeah.
She moved like
Things got good for her,
15
and then
miles.
instead of moving forward, she stayed,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
now she's back, 3 steps back. So it's like, oh my God. Hopefully she moves forward. The dragon's going to come, take her away. I don't know does she really need a bigger Khalasar? She could get a bigger Khalasar, but who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
When is she going to Westeros, man?
Never.
Never.
So that takes us over to Bravos, and now we see Arya blind as a bat
Blind,
still,
yep.
begging for coins, and already like listening to what kind of coins she's getting, right? Like
Yep.
you could see that.
She's learning.
And then she's still getting trained.
Yep. This is,
The God of many faces is still going to train her no matter what.
Exactly. Arya, she's in the program, how to be a faceless woman. So, going blind, just going to enhance her different skills. And, when she's ready, she's going to go on to bigger and better things. So I have a feeling this whole season, she's just going to be doing little things moving forward because she's not going to be a player in the game. But I feel like later on in the books and the show, she's going to be the one that shows up out of nowhere and dispenses some justice.
I agree, man.
So
And Arya's like...
Arya's the bomb. Yeah,
she's been one of my favorite characters.
for sure.
We head back to
The wall where we started.
wall. Davos makes a stand, not letting...
Davos is the leader, by the way. Now,
For real.
he's
He wasn't
he's siding
having it.
with Jon Snow, which Davos is a good guy. So is Jon Snow, but you didn't think necessarily he would do that.
But we're gonna see him make a stand, probably in the next episode.
Yep.
And we'll find out. They gave him until nightfall. It looked like it was midday. So
he's coming up with some kind of a plan, cooking up a scheme. So we got that takes us to the Red Woman,
and that's it, man.
And some interesting things happen there.
So we see the Red Woman who loves to get naked.
Yep.
She gets naked, and then she takes off this necklace, and all of a sudden she's looking at the mirror, and she becomes between 200 years and 400 years old. Who knows?
Yep. Nobody knows.
But what does that mean going forward?
Well, so okay, I'm thinking, what is she doing? Because she never sleeps. Apparently, why is she going to bed?
Yeah.
They say she never sleeps. So obviously, she's had some kind of a glamour spell. If the necklace is on there as a part of it, although I have seen scenes before where she was, fully naked, and
No necklace?
no necklace. So
Well,
could be a show mistake, or it could be that she has other spells going on as well. But apparently she's very old. There was talk, actually, of Bloodraven. That's the three-eyed raven who's
we're gonna see
teaching
with
Bran.
Bran.
Yep, we're going to see in the future episodes that he might be either related to her or her father with another woman that was talked about in the books. But, it's just speculation at this point. But I really don't know what the point is. But it's definitely going to be interesting. She definitely has to be involved in Jon Snow's reawakening.
Bringing Jon Snow back. I agree. I think that's where we're headed.
Yep.
Somehow, I don't know if she needed to sleep so that she'll have the power to bring him back, but she saw him in the fire. She knows what to do,
Yep.
and when they light Jon's body on fire, we're going to have some fireworks happening.
When she ran back to the wall, she realized that he was the one in the fire and not Stannis, and that's
Exactly.
why she abandoned him. Yeah. But coming up in the next episodes, who are we looking forward to? Bran, obviously.
Bran, the Greyjoys. We could have a lot of things
The
happening.
Kingsmoot, right, and the Greyjoys. That'll be interesting.
I hope they show that too.
Yeah, because
I
that's a
hope they show
good
that.
scene.
So, I mean,
Do you think Theon might come to that?
No,
No, I don't think so
I don't
either,
think so. I think they'll stick pretty close to what the book did. And so as we go forward with our podcast, with breaking down the episodes, what we have to do is we have to think about, what are we really looking forward to? We of course we're Game of Thrones fans and we're diehards, and we'll just enjoy it as we go. But what's the one thing? If you had to pick one thing, what are you looking forward to most if it happens.
Well, I'm looking forward to the bowls, Pat. There's a couple of bowls upcoming, and the two I've been hearing about. I mean, Ramsay and Jon Snow, the Snow Bowl they call it.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I don't know if it's really going to happen because Jon might prefer to stay by the wall.
Right.
But there's another one.
That's definitely going to happen.
That's definitely going to happen.
We're going to get the Hound versus the Mountain, and that's happening this year.
It's gotta,
because
the Hound is the warrior's son.
Even scenes that we've seen like throughout this season of Game of Thrones that HBO has put on.
Yeah.
And Cersei is just at it, right? And she's got her champion.
Mm-hmm.
The Hound is coming out of somewhere, and he's going to take that mountain down, man.
It's about time.
I can't wait.
No, me too. Okay, who's gonna die next episode?
If I had to pick somebody dying, it is going to be Alistair Thorne.
Alistair Thorne. Yep. All
I'm
right.
thinking.
I don't know about this episode, but definitely I see Ramsay killing his father. There's a baby in the works, and Ramsay's a jealous baby, so
That's
he
true.
might put him to death. Roose is a cool character, but I just feel like he doesn't have the presence and the hatred that Ramsay brings out. So I can see him just fizzling out of the show.
Exactly, man.
Ramsay killing his father.
There you go. So that is the first episode of the Kings of Westeros podcast. It is part of the Blackjack Movies, as always. Please like, share, comment on this. Be part of the conversation. Let Danko and myself know exactly what we need to talk about, what you want to hear more about, if it's more of the anticipation factor, if it's more just breaking down the show even further. Whatever you guys want to do, be part of the conversation. This is Blackjack Movies.